If I talk about that IFF Innovator Club, what 4 years before when we started, it was just idea. Simple idea we want to, because IFF as a event is very big. They have been doing it since last 2 decades. We say something new we need to do, which is meaningful in India, and how we embed innovation and sustainability as a practice, as a concept for Indian retailer to understand it better. And 4 years before, I think, though something was happening, but sustainability as a topic was not mainstream. Still, many area it is not mainstream. But IFF, we all coming together and starting something 4 years back. Today, I feel so happy. It is becoming kind of movement in IFF Innovator Club. First event to second event to third event. Now, I think we have come good way. And that time I say that, चलो कुछ करते हैं, मंजिल मिले या ना मिले, मंजिल की जुस्तजू में कारवां में, चलो कुछ करते हैं, कुछ तो करते हैं. And today I say that we are proud of having all that best mind, best people here, and taking that concept into making it as a Indian pride and making it mass movement. And there is no better opportunity for talking about India and Indian tradition other than Mr. Sarabhai himself. So now I will just utilize time. I will get insight from Mr. Sarabhai, Mr. Kartikeya Sarabhai. What is sustainability and how it mean for textile industry? And some of the question I will ask you. May I have marked my acha? Okay. Mr. Kartikeya Bhai, I will use short form of Sarabhai Bhai. You have your own legacy. I think when anyone go in Ahmedabad, I mean Sarabhais and Lalbhais, you have that legacy of generations. Even we know that how pioneer you have been, that even your father, Vikram Sarabhai ji, he has taken India for that something unheard. So one side you have that legacy and always visionary. You have thought about that Center for Environment Education. You are founder of that. Almost 4 decades. I think you celebrated 40 years. That time no one know what is environment, and education in environment was unheard. So what is your thought and how this vision you shall, which is almost 4 decades back, that sustainability and environment can be something? Just tell something about that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So talking about the legacy part, it was really what all of us can do. And it was to say that whatever skills we have and whatever training we have, we can really apply it, because there was a major challenge of development of this country. And how do you apply that? And in that, how do you be non-imitative and how do you be innovative? So it's not to just follow a tradition, because for many reasons, the way you used to do business cannot be done anymore. India has grown 4 times the size since independence. Materials have completely changed. The environment has changed. But can you innovate for what you need rather than take on models from abroad which are not sustainable? And that was the whole challenge. So the space program, which you said, India's space program came out completely differently. And they were amazed when India sent this mission to Chandrayaan, how one could do it at that price. And that was because it was a totally different way in which you sort of went round, circled, left the Indian orbit and came there. Very different from someone going straight. Now, that was innovation. So you were not hackled. Now, we are all trained in a certain way. So there's a certain colonial way in which we do things. When we don't, so when I was learning cricket, Dhoni's shot could never have been played. My person would have thrown me out. But because Dhoni didn't have this handicap of learning from a good coach, he could innovate with something which now has become part of cricket tradition. So the thing is, how do we get out of our way of thinking? Now, when you talk about how one got into environment, I actually got into development. I was not, in fact, talking about environment. And in fact, the first question which we dealt with, nothing to do with nature, it was when we asked people, what do they want in this far off time called 2000? That time 2000 was like science fiction. Like today, when we say 250, we might think of it as something. So they said in Ahmedabad that a woman today can see a late night movie and go back alone on a scooter or walking without feeling afraid. Can you maintain that in the year 2000? Now I said, look, here is the person. So our Secretary of Education said, look, here are my plans. The plans have to do with building, heights, this and that. And here is your desire, which is nothing to, I mean, it has got the, if I don't understand the relationship between the two, how can I do it? And we started thinking. So what they did in the planning was that we had made zoning in our cities. So they said this zone is only economic, this zone is for residential, this zone is for something else. If you go to the old cities, any old city in India, the guy used to live at the top and his shop was at the bottom, right? So there was no place in the old city, say Ahmedabad or Hyderabad or anywhere else, which became dead at night. Now suddenly you had a whole area which became dead because of zoning. And so because of that, the crime happens. There's enough social studies research. And then it was very interesting. I was in Washington and this person said, oh, we have to show you something very new. So they drove us out and we went there and there was this thing where there were shops at the bottom and residences at the top. And I said, now what you will do is you will convince our poor Indians, municipality and other things, you will fly them there to see something which हमने कितने साल से यही किया है. So I think one thing I'm saying is we need confidence. Now Mr. Tyagi's book, the whole first part is to do with that tradition and understand that tradition and how do we do it. Now the one lesson from nature, and Kedar mentioned just now about price being critical. The thing is, we ask children, what is not in nature? What do you not see? What do you not see in a forest? And then someone comes up and says, okay, there's no waste. The whole concept of waste is human. There is nothing which is waste. Now just imagine a system which works like that. So that becomes the inspiration of this.
Good. And many times it is said that nature itself regenerate. We are the mankind who destroy it. More we destroy. Now we come from the fashion industry. Most of the people is from fashion. Fashion, one side you see glamour, where everyone want to look good and feel good. I am wearing something better. Other side, that manufacturing, which is mostly that least developed country. And in that lot of issue related to even ecology and sociology is not think so much in that. So in fashion industry, where we have that fast fashion, ultra fast fashion, and all these things which is creating a lot of buzz, sometimes that environment and climate is not resonating well. It's contradictory. So for fashion industry, how you see sustainability and ecology with the economy and sociology well balanced? Some thought on that?
Yeah. You know, when the gold rush happened in San Francisco, there was this Armenian migrant who said, let me design a cloth which can withstand that. His name was one Mr. Levi. So he did it and he found another partner who got the rivet there. The rivet and that cloth was what made the jeans. Now, just think of the fashion industry which says that, look at this thing, it doesn't wear out. Even purana hota hai to people are saying it's fashionable. Even if it tears, they're saying it's fashionable. So now what do we do? So now you have pre-torn things, you know, because the whole idea was that it should last. So I was at a conference in Europe and I said, they said, how do I convert this? Because fashion no to kuch karna hi hai. So I said, why don't you say that as it is, most of these fabrics are made in India, jeans are made in India, you give the jeans to all young people in India, let them wear it for 3 years, or wo fate jeans with stories, we will rewash and sell it in America. So there you can say hand torn rather than machine torn. You know, some concept you are saying that how do you rework that, because they want a certain fashion. So fashion is something which is inherent in us. We want something different, we want something new, yet you want something circular. Now, the point again mentioned just before this talk about pricing. Now, if you think that you have a system which has no waste, you have another system, if you remember in the first panel discussion, they said about 30% goes in what is it called? Discounting and other things because of old things coming. Now, which should be cheaper? You would say obviously the one which has no waste. But yet we are not able to do that because the price of this is not paid by by the company. It's paid by nature. So we need to find out ways in which all these concepts, not only are good concepts, but are economical and can make it work. So there are lots of innovations in fashion which can be done. And I think we have enough innovators here. Even if you walk down these lobbies, you find some great new ideas which are there.
So, interesting point. India is a hub for innovation. And same time we hear that traditionally India is more sustainable. When I go in Europe and some people, one forum called Alan MacArthur, they work on that circularity. And I was part of that discussion, and they were giving all that preaching and gyan, how Indians should do that. And I was doing counter discussion with them. We were always sustainable and circular. Even we never used to throw and waste our cloth. Even our own sibling, we use it 100 times, repair it, change the collar, and we take example and inspiration from Levi's for Ton's jean. Why we are shy of not using Indian tradition as a fashionable thing. I think that resonate what you are saying.
Yes, because we go by images. If you do research on who looks at an ad the most, say car ads, who looks at the car ad is the person who's just bought that car. Because he wants to feel good. You know, if that car makes me feel macho, I like to read the ad because I just bought the car, not to buy. So the image of a product, and this is why again that point Kedar made about storytelling. The story has to be told. And here are people who know how to tell a story. But the story, it must become fashionable. Why is it that fur is not worn anymore abroad? Because the minute you wear fur, people look down upon you, not look upon you. But there was a time 100 years ago where if you wore fur, you were looked upon as the elite. So things will change. Fashion will change, but it will change because we here who are in the retail business, who are in the textile business, will not only take action, but will also tell that story. Your ads must tell that story. Who looks good? What do I feel? Because what I feel is very much to do with what you made me feel. Unfortunately or not, that's how I feel. I mean, you know.
So in this room, we have a lot of creative people, marketing people, and best brain of Indian fashion industry are here. Sometimes I don't know why we feel shy of telling the world we are the best designer or we are the best product developer or marketeer. We don't loudly tell to the world. So if we take that India as a fashion hub, we mostly take inspiration from Milan, Paris, sometimes London, New York, etc. Even Hong Kong or Tokyo. In India, there is no fashion inspiration, though we keep hearing that inspiration can come from anywhere. So what is your message to Indian creative people or fashion enthusiasm people? I will come to that cost and Gen Z and Gen Alpha later, but this room, what is your message, how to bridge that innovation with fashionability and make it more sustainable and more fashionable Indian way of doing it?
Yeah, so I think it starts with us. It starts with our own mindset, which needs to be corrected because we are all from a certain education here, which makes us think in a certain way. Now, an Indian way of doing things, unfortunately, when it comes from abroad, we respect it more. So if we say the Beatles looked at yoga, for instance, or looked at the Ravi Shankar Sarod, sitar, Indians started recognizing it. Now, of course, the Prime Minister is talking about it, but at that time, why is yoga such a big thing and why is it fashionable? It totally defined the type of gym which we normally do, because it was not based on those same considerations. So one by one, Indian things are doing. But why is it that we ourselves can't recognize our own thing, and we need someone else from outside, that also from the West, to endorse us? Then we feel, ye theek hai, ye, this is the fashion. So as I said about that housing, I gave an example. But it is true of most things. So that's why we sometimes need a brand ambassador who is credible in this thing.
I will give one example. One of my best friend is sitting here, Samrat Som. And we were in China. And he designed something for, that time we were talking about luggage. He designed something and we created prototype. And I say, yaar, ye itna badhiya bana, mujhe chahiye. He said, do banwate hain. After 15 years, still I have that. And I can't get that design anywhere in Delsey or Tommy or whichever you name. But he himself is very shy of telling he has created that. So how we encourage best people to do the storytelling? Marketing, we go sometime extreme to consumer willingness to pay premium, etc., etc. But if Tommy can be brand, Louis Vuitton can be brand, Sabyasachi can be brand, why we in this room don't take so much pride? So what is your suggestion to the best people here in this room for the storytelling? Because most of the time we are in technical side and we don't do good part in that storytelling. Well, Samrat, I use your example.
Well, the whole, talking about luggage, because you mentioned it, I've often wondered why if you go to any railway station, at least in the past, the person there will carry the burden on their head. And it's a hands-free experience. If you see a woman taking food to the khet, the tiffin is carried on the head. And the hands are free. It's a hands-free thing. And it doesn't fall in the same. But not a single luggage company has made something which will go on my head. They've not. It's always hand carrying. Now, just a small example that if you were to take inspiration from something which every Indian previously was doing, how come you are doing this? And that also, if you carry a bag only one side, you have all sorts of problems. The head is a good one. I mean, just a small example. So if you just were to see how people do it, it will certainly lead to more. But the Environment Education Center, which we created, as you say, 40 years ago, was exactly for this purpose. That we need to take pride, we need to understand, we need to know our own stories. Get children, for instance, to write a story on something they know. Write that story. So what has happened now, we've come a long way, and the new textbooks which are being written, they've given us the opportunity, and for the first time, this is being put into it. I was surprised, I was just attending Manjul Bhargav's lecture recently about mathematics, and the amount of mathematics things which we invented here went to the Arab world went to the West know it as an Arab numerals, but it's not only numerals, there are 10 of, even Pythagoras' theorem was developed here in Sanskrit shloka about 300-400 years before Pythagoras did it. But we still know it only as the Pythagoras theorem. So the thing is, India needs to rediscover itself. What your book does to some extent, how do we rediscover and how do we have confidence? As each one of us is a designer, each one of us is marketing, do we have the confidence of saying something which we think is good, but we hesitate because that's not how our upbringing is?
So I think that in last 3 decades, one of the things I also rediscover, and still I'm rediscovering, is that mindset and behavior. Sometimes our mindset is so heavy, and we behave like that. You are in education space, and education, creating awareness and education. India, we are 140 crore people. Consumption of textile is very high. So if we have to create that education to everyone, whether it is manufacturer or brand or retailer or even education institute, NIFT or NID, or even that customer or supplier or franchisee, how we should make it mindset change is the most difficult thing. But how which make it as a behavior. So in terms of educating it to the consumer level, because university is too late. And when you do in school, I say always catch them when they are young. And behavior is built in that. That's why we run the program called Sustainability Accelerator Program from 6th class to 12th class. So what is your suggestion and your view on that creating awareness for sustainable fashion in India, which can be not only consumption, but sustainable consumption and responsible manufacturing brand and all these things. So what is your view on that?
No, first of all, you're absolutely right that these attitudes and things come up when you are really young. And then they stick with you. And you might be more sophisticated in how you speak it, but if you actually think it's come very young. So we have to start with young people. One of the things I'm trying just now is to get children to bring back clothes which they've just outgrown. And see if you can remodel them also. I mean, one thing is washing them and giving again a second hand, but instead of that, can they redesign it? We are also trying to do it with toys. That can you redesign? I've got 3 wheels from this thing and I've got 2 wheels from here. Can I do it? So you get fashion as something which is built in. Now, if you say what happened with the Lego was something which you build. So it doesn't come with the. It's very different from giving you a kit to build a particular house. There it is already said you are following instructions and building that house. But Lego doesn't do that. Lego says you build your house. They give you suggestions, but you are creative. So this innovation, which is this room, I suppose, the innovativeness has to not be killed. Now the trouble is, people sometimes tell me, you grow a beard, you are growing a beard. I said, no, I'm not growing a beard. You are cutting it. The beard grows automatically. You know, so it's not, but the whole question is put wrongly. So children are obviously curious. People say, I want to arise, so that children ask questions. I said, लड़के तो क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे ही. आपने 3 साल 4 साल स्कूल में you shut them up. अभी नहीं बोला what is please shut up. There was a question, what do birds eat? One of our class. So this particular child was looking out of that window. It was drought, and he could see this dead cattle, and he could see vultures and crows and everything eating it. So he raises his hand and he says, birds eat cows. Huh? Everyone laughed in the class. The teacher said, you meet me afterwards. Now the teacher doesn't say, कि आपने देखा. Then we went and met the teacher. The teacher says, suppose my children write birds eat cows, my examination, that paper is going to another teacher. वो तो गलत ही देंगे. So textbook में लिखा है कि birds eat grain and insects, तो वही सच है. Even with my own son, I was teaching him something, and finally he came and said, कि पापा स्कूल का काम मैं कर लूँगा, आप संडे को मुझे सिखाना, because he found that if I gave him these answers which are questioning, the teacher was not appreciating it. So the question is, how do you appreciate innovation? Children come, it's a born trait. Innovative, children are innovative.
No, I agree with you, and I think I see that young children, they are more innovative than previous generation. And nowadays, I think India as a market is more, we always say that value conscious consumer. Indian consumer is willingness to pay premium is very low. I hear it everywhere, every forum. And when on that you talk about sustainability, people have that myth. Sustainability means adding the cost. And I always say that it is reverse. If adding the cost is that, then it's not sustainable. So one side you have consumer who has that lot of global access to fashion, fashionability, where they want to see everything in one click. Even they want to try it on the mobile before they go to store. That is the kind of information overload is there. Then other side you have that cost conscious approach in brand and retailer. So how to create more opportunity? One side it is barrier and challenge, cost as a imperative. I have in my own experience when I interact with the so-called Gen Z, they are more responsible. They want that fashion to be more responsible. Socially, they are more responsible. Environmentally, they are more responsible. They want that right information, how it is made, how it was designed. So one side I hear that, other side I hear that it's too much cost conscious. How to bridge that and how innovation uh, can make India fashion more sustainable, especially for next generation, and paving the way. Indian economy will be 2047 almost 30, 26 to 30 trillion. And today textile is just, I mean, brand and retailer is 30 billion. Even that itself will be the 300 billion. So how, what is your message to everyone that how that cost part, which is behavior and mindset, other sustainability as a cost add, not balancing, how this should be, our industry should take it?
Well, I think you're right that the new generation which is coming up are much more sustainability oriented. And they will not allow your parents or grandparents to say, ye nahi karna hai. Even at Diwali, if you are doing something, they talk now. So I think that education thing which has happened, as you perhaps some of you might know, India is the only country in the world which made environmental consciousness since 91 Supreme Court judgment as a compulsory subject infused into all our systems. So that is now taking its benefits. But so that the person who is selling has to know, okay, there is a demand for this. I have to, greenwashing or otherwise, I have to at least put sustainability in my, somewhere in my presentation, I have to put it. The other thing is the cost. Now that is where this innovation comes in. Because I think it is enough said here that don't make it something which I have to do because of some guilt feeling. I should not be buying sustainable thing because I'm feeling guilty कि अच्छा 10 रुपये की एक शर्ट तो ऐसा ले लो. That should not be. It should be because I want to buy it. It makes me feel good and it is price conscious. Now that is where we don't have the answer, but that is the challenge of IFF and all the members here, that how do we bring cost, how do we make it sustainable, fashionable, and yet cost effective. That's the key. Now, in terms of making certain things cost effective, you might have to take, for instance, the handloom sector. We are discussing with them that the reason why the handloom is obviously more expensive is that the environment cost is less there. But the environment cost is not paid by people here. So can we get carbon credits? So for instance, we are just now exploring whether the whole handloom sector, if they get carbon credits and therefore the cost is lower, then it might match this. So you might have to use certain mechanisms to bring that, to correct that thing. And I think this whole mechanism of credits might be the way, that if any fashion house is really doing something there, they get something. Maybe we have to lobby with government to give us something. Maybe there's a tax relief. But for the consumer, don't ask the consumer to buy at a higher premium just because it's sustainable. I would say that don't, let us innovate in such a way that the consumer wants to buy it because it's good, and between two things they will, price being more or less equal, they will buy your sustainable thing.
Good. I will keep last rapid fire chat. One word I will use, and you have to give one statement. And greenwashing.
To avoid.
Who to avoid?
I think consumers must know that we will not tolerate this nonsense of greenwashing. I mean, it's education.
Interesting, Kartikeya Bhaiji. And now we have to wrap up because of we are between lunch and this session. So we have to wrap it up. I think it's good interaction. And I will keep just one question if anyone has. One question.
So, one question. You know, when we talk about we versus them, India versus the West, why is it not that in our culture, it is us as humanity? Why is it not us as against to me versus them? You know, we need to move ahead as a human race, or do we need to move ahead as a country, as an individual, as one person? Why is it just one person? Why is it not us together?
Well, I hope.
Because the climate is not just about you and me in India or somewhere else. The climate is about all of us. So if we see more and more that we are becoming us, how is the world going to work together?
No.
How is it sustainable?
No, you're 100% right. India should take that lead. But today what's happened is, in the last 10 years, that those statesmen world around who used to proclaim that we are not just thinking of our country, but we are thinking of the globe, those have all lost, unfortunately. In one after another, if you see, the whole world is trended towards more us, from us to me. India has not yet. India has not yet. But we hope that India will be able to bring that. But if you see just now, all the statements from America, for instance, just now, they are saying that, look, us first. So it is a challenge. And therefore, the Indian philosophy of us. But the point only being that without that us, there is no future. So you will finally get it. I mean, Krishna and...
You're saying you have to be me before we become us.
No. I'm saying the me is a reality. But us, if people can't understand us, they will understand it the hard way. How many California fires do you need? Yes, we should. We should. No, we should be saying us, but it is just now a battle to share us. I think in India the situation is much better.
I agree with Kartikeya bhai. I think everywhere we have neo-nationalism. Every country is talking about themselves. India is the one where we have Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. And if you see that whole history, and I think you must read my book, we are in better position to lead India in sustainability. And
lead the world. Therefore, lead the world.
And even for textile and brand, I think we are better position. Mark my word, if we do it rightly, we all do together, we'll be leading sustainability for textile in global. Mark my word.
I can talk a lot more, but
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we are done. Thank you very much for your patience listening. And I know a lot of curiosity and a lot of question. We can have off discussion in that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naresh.